Welcome everyone to episode 70 of the Circle Back podcast. I'm Dan LaMarca. I'm joined today, as always, by Dan Dufresnoy.
That's me. Hello, everybody.
And Shelby White.
How you doing? 70 episodes.
Episode 70. And guys, this is a spooky one.
I'm scared.
We are here with a fun little episode we're going to do where we are going to make a top 10 list of our favorite games that are spooky. So I have the list in front of me, and I'll say before we get into it, these are our favorite games that are scary. So it's not the top 10 scariest games of all time. Like we're not, none of us are huge Outlast fans, so that's not going to be on here. But here is our list that we developed. No particular order right now, but we're going to rank them and put them in 1 through 10. All right. We have Resident Evil 2 Remake that just came out this year. Resident Evil Remake, the GameCube one.
Mm-hmm.
Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 7, Silent Hill 2, PT, Soma, Alan Wake, Amnesia, Until Dawn, Bloodborne, BioShock, Dead Space, Dead Space 2, Eternal Darkness, Prey, Alien Isolation, Little Nightmares, Left 4 Dead, Left 4 Dead 2, The Last of Us, Limbo, Inside, System Shock 2, Doki Doki Literature Club, Deadly Premonition, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, and Clock Tower.
I'm getting scared just hearing those names.
So that's a big old list of games. We're going to narrow it down to our top 10, and then we're going to rank them. So we're going to do it kind of like how we have done these lists in the past. We're going to kind of go around Game of the Year style once we get to it and nominate a cut.
Mm-hmm. So first off, I'm just curious, like, what your guys' experience with, like, do you guys seek out horror games? Do you guys like seek out if you see something a little scary, you go, ooh, I'm going to see what that's about? Because I definitely don't do that. So
personally,
no,
I don't.
What I really do is if it's a game that looks good or I hear it's good and it also happens to be scary, then I'm going to play it.
I think horror games or horror in general is like spicy food. Like, if it's really good and tasty, like, I'm about it. But if it's just spicy for the sake of being spicy, I'm not about it. So that's how I...
So your tasty is your spooky.
Spooky.
That's all right.
Yeah, no, exactly. So no, spicy is the spooky. Spicy is the spooky. If it's tasty and spicy, it's good. Okay. But if it's just
tasty is good,
if it's just spicy for no reason,
is spooky.
Yeah,
right.
If it's just spicy for no reason, what's the point?
Yeah, that's easy. It's an easy correlation to make.
Thanks, I worked on that.
What about you, Shelb?
No, same thing. I don't go out of my way to play games like this, but there are those games that are, I guess, not unintentionally, where I don't realize that I'm going to play a game that's as scary as it actually is. I would say the first time I went through The Last of Us probably was the first time I was just like, I didn't realize I was playing a game that you're going to have these jump scares and shit like that popping out.
Do you guys
I thought I was just playing the next Naughty Dog game. You know,
I'm adding, I know we're supposed to be cutting games, but I'm adding a game.
What game are you adding?
Gone Home.
Oh, that's genius. Oh, we'll get to that. That's super smart.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say, like, when I was a kid, like, yeah, I was playing the Resident Evil games because, I mean, bad experiences with them. But, yeah, I played the Resident Evil games. You know what
the game that spooked me that's not scary when I was a kid is Myst. I was so scared by Myst because it was just so quiet and there was no one around and it was just, like, spooky. But it's not a scary game at all.
Do you guys ever, like, when you get scared, do you guys, like, yell or do you keep it inside, keep it tough? Or do you... Because I scream, and everybody will know when I'm playing a scary game. Like, everybody upstairs,
I'll make an expletive every now and then.
What are you playing?
Yeah, I usually...
Some guy jumped out of the
It's
corner.
more of a physical reaction than a verbal. Usually I like, like in Outer Wild, the first time I encountered the anglers.
Oh yeah, don't come up on you.
You can watch me react to it first time.
Once it moves, I like literally was like so freaked out, like terrified. I was like, funny. Whoa, look at these skeletons! Boom.
I remember playing games as a kid and stuff like that. My grandpa would be sitting behind me, just watching me play this horrible game,
loving you,
and I'll be like,
crazy.
Like even as a kid, I'd be like, "Fuck this game," you know, like no, nope, that's not for me. So.
All right, so let's get to the list here. I'll kick it off because I say so. No, because I'm looking at the list, and I mean it's a really, really good list of games. But we're talking our favorite games that are also scary. So I think there are a couple games on here that might be on here because they're scary, not because they're great games.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I think an example of that specifically is Amnesia. So I think Amnesia did a lot for now current horror games, first-person horror games in particular. Like, one of my sister's favorite games is Layers of Fear. That is a game that a lot of people love as a scary game. I never played, but that game takes the DNA from an Amnesia type thing. Same with Soma. Soma's on this list. With no Amnesia, there's no Soma.
Right.
Not only because it's the same
So it's
studio,
like an originator, yeah.
but like Soma happened to be made by the people that made Amnesia. But you get what I'm saying. It's like a really smart.
They were inspired by a game that they made because.
No, but I think Amnesia can come from this list based on the amount of like really great games that are on this list. I don't know if you guys agree. What do you think?
Yeah, no, definitely. I remember playing Amnesia back when it came out. I mean, it feels like forever ago. But yeah, I think that the whole shtick of it was just kind of like, I mean, it was a cool premise. For those that haven't played it, you're kind of, it's very it's like a gothic sort of castle that you're in, and you lose your memory, obviously, amnesia, and you're just finding out more and more what a terrible person you were and like why these monsters are coming after you. It's a really cool premise, and it is a cool game. But I think there's been so much to come after it that I'm okay with taking it off. But I'm glad that we gave it a shout out.
All right, I agree. Dan, you got something on your mind?
I mean, what do you guys? So I've never played these games, so I want your guys' pitch on them. And I've heard these games are classic, but I don't know if they're necessarily. What I've seen, I don't know if they're necessarily scary. The Left 4 Dead games.
Okay, so Left 4 Dead definitely,
which doesn't mean that they shouldn't be on the list as a great game. I just mean,
So they are scary.
Okay.
It's a first person shooter basically, but there are zombies running at you. So the whole thing about the reason I think Left 4 Dead was scary at the time, especially, is it's dark. Yeah, everyone has a flashlight wherever you look. There's a flashlight, and so there's just zombies like coming in from the dark. So like everywhere you turn, there's zombies running at you that you're shooting. So it is an action game, obviously, but it definitely is scary. And especially once they, the bigger zombie monsters like the tank and the smoker and those guys. So I love Left 4 Dead. I think what I could say is Left 4 Dead 2 is a better game than Left 4 Dead.
Okay.
So I'd be willing to take out Left 4 Dead 1, but I'd
out.
like to keep 2. Does that work for people?
I agree. Left 4 Dead 2 is definitely better of the two.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Yeah.
All right, Shelby, you got one in mind? What are you looking at?
I mean, I haven't played a ton of these games. Like I said, I wasn't huge into the horror thing, but one that I did play not really serious, but the Limbo and Inside games are like fantastic games.
Yes.
I think,
Mm-hmm.
and from this list that we've created, you wouldn't jump out and look at these and be like, all right, I'm looking for jump scares and stuff like that. The first time I played Limbo, I wasn't looking. I was looking to get through this nice little side scroller with this nice aesthetic. Like, yeah, it's black and white, it's cool, whatever. And then you do whack, you get stabbed by
spider.
a freaking spider, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, that was scary.
Oh, God.
That was definitely scary.
Yeah,
moment.
so so that was an unexpected thing that, and still fell in love. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've talked about it before. We do love that game.
Oh yeah, but what is
particular,
before? I'm sorry to cut you off, Shelby. But
Go
what I
ahead.
want to say is like we have multiple games that can be considered. So like we have 4 Resident Evil games on here. Limbo and Inside, even though they're not
same
sequels, they're
studios,
kind of
Playdead.
sequels, right?
Yeah.
So
Just the name Playdead's scary. Woo.
you don't. It doesn't need like Limbo and Inside can both make this list, but it's going to be hard for both of them to make the list. That's kind of why I took Left 4 Dead out.
Yeah.
But the thing that I'll say is if you're leaning towards, oh, maybe we'll cut one of them, I could see that happening, even though I like both of them
games
more than a lot of these games.
Right.
We can definitely come back, especially with some of the games that we have multiple sequels of
Yeah.
on this list.
Yeah. In my head, I wanted to include the like there are 4 Resident Evil games on here because they're all really great
Yeah.
and they're spooky. So it's like all right, they're on here. Now, if we want to end up with just one or two, that's fine. Like,
Yeah.
even if you think that 4 of them are,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, whatever you think. And I just wanted to kind of throw that out there because I didn't really say that in the beginning.
Yeah.
I feel like, and it's hard because I feel like depending on the day, it changes. But right now, I feel like I like Inside better as a game. I just feel like there's just, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. I feel like when we're talking about like great games, I think they're like neck and neck. But I think for me, Inside just edges it out just like ever so slightly. I think the like. Talk about like spooky, like the whole 1984 aesthetic.
Yeah.
That really like hits home, and you don't think of, when you think of spooky, you think of monsters, and you think of witches and ghosts and stuff like that. But I think that whole totalitarianistic regime, that's scary.
Well,
not to mention the lady in the ocean with the just constantly coming after you.
Yeah.
That was very scary and
was
stressful.
definitely
That whole moment.
And just how unsettling the ending of that game is when you
I don't know what
very
become,
much so.
become the blob.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure what that means.
Oh. Maybe we can analyze it another time.
All right. Please.
Yes, please. So what do you guys think? I mean, do we want to do that, or do you want to revisit it? Cut one of these? What do you want to do?
We could definitely revisit,
All
because
right.
like, again, we're not talking about these being the best games of all time or the best horror games. We're talking about which one's spooky.
Well,
You know?
actually, we are
That's
talking about
spooky.
what's the best game that is also spooky.
Yeah.
We're not saying which one's the spookiest.
All right.
That's why. Yeah. At the top, I was like, well, let's make it clear. We want a list of great games.
It's the best
Yeah.
game.
It's just that they're all scary,
Perfect.
So what do you want to do? You want to cut one?
Or do you want to look at something else? What do you want to do?
Let's look at something else.
I
All
feel
right.
like
I just waste time. Come back.
That's all right.
No.
So what are you
No, we gotta
thinking?
talk
What are you
about it.
seeing on the list that you're like, yeah, I don't know if that one hangs.
No. I agree with you guys that I really like both those games, and I don't want to cut one now.
So that's fine. That's fine. Do you have something else that you see that you're like, let's not cut that. Let's cut this one.
Well, I'd actually like to, because we were talking about this beforehand. Dan, I'd like you to talk about Clock Tower.
Oh yeah. Please, thank you.
Give Dan his soapbox for
Yeah.
Clock Tower.
Clock Tower's an
He
awesome.
just seems so excited about it.
Yeah, Clock Tower, because you know what it is? It was one of those games I haven't played in so long. I want to say the first one came out for the Super Nintendo, but I think it's a franchise. I think there was one for the PlayStation, I want to say, or maybe it was just a port. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a point-and-click adventure. You play as this girl. You're like four orphans who get brought to this like mansion, and it's a huge mansion.
Mhm.
And one of your friends gets murdered, and then 2 of them go missing, and you kind of go on a chase just trying to like find them. But it's very much like a Day of the Tentacle sort of thing, where like it's a point-and-click adventure. You have to find certain items to unlock certain doors or certain areas, and it's just got this amazing atmosphere. Very, very macabre. It's very much like Blasphemous, that sort of like style.
Okay, that's cool.
But what makes it like so special, not only was it like an originator for like the survival horror,
Mhm.
genre, but what's cool about, so the enemy there, he's this guy. He's like this little guy. I think his name's like Scissor Man, and he has these huge scissors, and it sounds super silly. But like it's really scary because he shows up anywhere and everywhere. Like you don't know where he's coming from. So you'll be in a room looking for something. You move, like you open up like the cupboard, and there he is, and he jumps out.
Mm.
And to me, this is what makes this game special, at least for the time that I was playing it. Now if you run into a room and there's a monster, if you just exit the room, the monster's gone. This guy will chase you through the whole mansion until you find
Oh wow.
until you find a spot to hide in. And what's even crazier about it is, in the bottom left corner you have you see the girl's face, and if you run too long, you get too stressed out, and
It's like Doom. You see the little face in the bottom.
and you can't run anymore.
And does she make faces?
Yeah, she make faces like
So
you can
it's
tell
like
when
an
she's
expression-
tired.
An
Ooh.
expressional salmoner bar.
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
That's
exactly.
creepy.
And like if you're too stressed
This game
out,
sounds cool.
and you can't
I wanna play
run
this.
anymore, like the guy's gonna come and catch you. So you're trying to like maneuver through this mansion, try to find your friends, while every corner of this guy with the scissors is coming after you.
Mhm.
And it's just, I really, you know what? It's one of those things that I don't know. I haven't played this game in like 15 years.
I mean,
you know,
it's a
20 years.
PlayStation 1
It was
game,
PlayStation
so
1? Okay, yeah. I want to say,
PlayStation
I don't
1
know why
game.
I'm thinking it was on the Super Nintendo, but
Yeah.
Oh, maybe
I
it was.
But,
But I was looking through it before. I saw it on the PlayStation.
yeah,
1, I
but
figured.
man, it was definitely like a special game, and the fact that
Cool.
like I still remember those sort of moments.
Means it left an impression on you.
Yeah, it really, really did.
Interesting.
And if you guys check out, anybody check out just like images of it. The artwork's beautiful. It's very, for 16-bit graphics, it's really, really, it's like pretty in a very weird, like scary, spooky way.
wow.
But I definitely,
All right.
definitely recommend
Clock
it.
Tower. I don't know if Clock Tower's ready to get cut then.
No, it doesn't sound like
It's
it.
a special game. It
Dan's
really
making a good argument.
It's
Yeah.
a really special game, and especially I just really like the shtick. If you're too stressed, you start to run slower, and the guy's gonna come get you. And like, you really just got to be smart about everything you do and every movement you make.
Very cool.
So that's my pitch on Clock Tower.
I like it. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's leave Clock Tower. Shelby get shut down twice.
Oh no, Shelby, it's okay, bud.
I wanted to know more about it. All I saw was the cover of the game.
Clock Tower's a cool game. Oh, it had the guy with the scissors, right? He's got like the big
Yeah.
bloody scissors. It's like, yeah.
I mean, you guys please take the reins on this one because on this list this is a fantastic list. I've only played 7 of these games,
Okay.
so
All right.
mean,
Well,
yeah.
how about this? I'll make it a little easier.
Yeah, I have a feeling
Deadly Premonition is on here because of me. I really like Deadly Premonition. This is the sweary game from 2006, maybe. It's really a bad game, but there's a lot to love about it. Like
Yeah.
it's really earnestly trying to be Twin Peaks, and it's like schlocky and fun and really good. I don't think it's as good as 10 of these games. I just happen to like it a lot, so I'm gonna cut Deadly Premonition.
with that being said, too, does it share any resemblance to Alan Wake? Because I know Alan Wake kind of
Alan Wake is
Peaks-ish.
very Twin Peaks-esque, but almost in a. It's different.
Okay.
Deadly Premonition literally wants to be Twin Peaks. Like you're in a town with a bunch of weird characters, and you can go visit different ones, and time passes. Like it's a weird ass game, but it's literally there's a woman with a log at a certain point. Like it's Twin
Oh.
Peaks.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
He's trying to make a Twin Peaks. So yeah, I mean, I like Deadly Premonition, but I can't sit here and say it's one of the
Better
best.
than-
So I'll get rid of that. Cool. Dan, you got anything you're seeing on here?
Yeah, so kind of like how you said with Deadly Premonition, there's things to like about it. I don't know if did you guys play Alien Isolation?
Yes. Where are you going with this?
It is super. Oh yeah, you love it.
Yes.
Oh really?
That is one of
wasn't-
the best horror experiences for
Oh
me.
man, I thought the gameplay in as a game, I love the aesthetic. Obviously, for anybody that knows me, Ridley Scott's original Alien movie. I also love Aliens. I love Alien.
Yeah,
So much.
me
and
too.
Recreating the Nostromo and the ship and putting you
Mhm.
into this world.
You sound like great things. What's going
I
on?
adored it. But having said that, I will say I think that the gameplay and the moments of getting stuck and banging your head against the wall, I don't think were worth the. I think it became there was points where it became so to me at least became so frustrating. The way we talked about like observation, like
Yes.
it got so frustrating that the whole experience was just like, all right, could the alien just come find me and kill me because I'm stuck. I don't know. Like,
So my argument for Alien Isolation was always this should have been a 5-hour game.
hmm.
I think it's hindered by the fact that it is too long, so it does get frustrating and tiring and whatever. The experience of trying to get somewhere and being hunted by the xenomorph is amazing, and it's so good.
Agreed.
I agree that as an overall game, I mean, there's a reason it's not one of my favorite games of all time when it could have been if it was a 5-hour, tight, well-made experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I guess you're right if you look at the list. It's probably not going to crack top 10, but
You could say, Dan, you're wrong. It's all good.
no, because I think you're right. I just hate saying it.
Sounds like this. Imagine
It's
this
my
game was
life.
like a 5-hour VR game.
Oh,
Oh
God.
man.
I do agree with that though.
Oh,
If it
man.
was like a smaller, tight knit,
Yeah.
you're just on the ship that was in the movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it takes like 7 hours just before you see the alien, and it's just
It's a 20-hour game.
yeah. It takes like just before you even get to oh, there's an alien on the ship. It just takes so long
I
to get
know.
there.
All right, we're cutting Alien Isolation.
Having said that, that doesn't mean I don't like the game.
It's a really cool game, and I think it's probably really cheap at this point. It came out early in the PS4.
It's a long time ago. I actually
uh,
got it for Xbox 360 when it came out. I don't know.
Oh,
how
yeah?
long ago that
Yeah,
was.
it must have been
It's
right
gotta
near
be.
launch. That's why.
probably below $20 by this point if was on the 360.
I'm just gonna go watch the movie.
It's a really it's a cool experience, but yeah, it's not one of the best games on this list. Shelby, you got any thoughts over there? What's going on?
I'm interested to see how you guys like we just went through Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2.
Mm-hmm.
What's your experiences with Dead Space and Dead Space 2?
Ooh,
I like
now,
this.
do we fall into
this.
a same situation where they kind of improved upon it?
So
And go.
I don't know how Dan feels. I don't know if I've talked to Dan about this.
I've
before.
only played the first game, to be fair.
Well, that
so.
that explains
okay.
it. I'll say, for me,
Mm-hmm.
the original Dead Space is one of my favorite games ever. It is Resident Evil 4 made into a sci-fi horror game. Dead Space 2 goes a little more action-y.
Mm-hmm.
It still has very scary moments, obviously, but it's kind of a different game. It's a little bit more of an action game so the better comparison, I said, Dead Space 1 is Resident Evil 4. The better comparison is Dead Space 1 is Resident Evil. Dead Space 2 is Resident Evil 4. So
Okay.
it's like
Gotcha. More action.
more
Yeah.
action, less horror, but it still has the horror elements there. I have a very soft spot for that first game. I think it might have been just because it's new, interesting,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever. I think if we're going to take one of these off, it's Dead Space 2.
All right.
So we could do that.
Dan, do you concur?
I mean, I've only played the first Dead
Yeah.
Space, but
I
everything-
could not imagine the original Dead Space not being on this 10.
Yeah.
Dead Space, the first Dead Space is one of my favorite games of all time.
so good.
like seriously, top
Yeah.
top 20 favorite
Yeah.
games I've ever played.
Yeah, it's that good.
Ever. Just those, and we're talking about games that are spooky. Just my parents being like, "Are you okay?" You're downstairs screaming, "What's going on?" The moments where you're walking down.
Yeah, Dan, you're sweating at dinner. What?
Seriously though, the moments where you're walking down like a hallway and you're just like, that game's a short game. Really, it's only like maybe 8-10 hours. It
Yeah.
took me like 20 just because like I'm just like
Inching your way
inching
along.
through, and there's like some guy comes from the ceiling vent, and that whole game just it puts you on the edge of your seat. And I replayed it. A game came out 2008.
Yeah.
I
think around
replayed
that
it
time, yeah.
even recently, maybe like 2 years ago, 3
And
years
it's
ago, and it
so
still
good
holds
still.
up so
Yeah,
well. It
it
still
really
holds
does.
up. So
Good.
I know some people, I've talked to. There's certain like quests that you have to do that can kind of be tedious, but even then, it never overstayed its welcome for me.
It's
That
a
whole
great, fantastic
that
game.
whole experience was just.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can't imagine that not being a top 10. It's that's like I said, if it's top 20 games of all time for me, I can't imagine.
Yeah, no. It's,
That game being-
that game's pretty much a mortal lock here.
So we're taking Dead Space 2 off.
Yeah,
Then?
Dead Space 2 is off.
Do you guys want to tackle the Resident Evils? We got quite a few.
Hey, we can
Oh, we
do
can-
that. I was thinking about something else before
go
we
for
do
it.
that, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Sorry if we're, but we have BioShock and System Shock 2. So I think I'm probably the only one that played System Shock 2, right?
Yeah.
Yo, way to assume.
Yeah.
You're
Am
right.
I wrong?
You're right though.
System Shock 2 did something very special, but I didn't play it when it came out. I played it years later.
Okay. So
And it didn't quite have the same impact on me that it had on a lot of people.
because you'd seen it in
Yes,
other
I
games.
still think if you played it today, it has merit to why this is one of the most beloved games. It's amazing. I kind of, what were we, 15? I was 15 when BioShock came out. Is that right? Does that check out?
Yeah.
So that kind of hit at
How
the
old are
right
you,
time
like
for
52?
me. Yeah, I'm 50 something.
All right.
That hit like the right time for me, where I have a lot of love for BioShock and how creepy it is. A little bit more than I have love for System Shock 2, but I could see people that are 10 years older than me saying the same thing about
okay.
System Shock 2. So I think we get rid of System Shock 2, keep
Okay.
BioShock for now, and then we can revisit.
Cool.
So I'm going to see how many we at. 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23. We only cut 5 games.
Wow.
Woof. This is going to be tough.
Be a long episode.
All right. You want to go for the Resident Evils now?
I mean, you don't have to. I don't know. Just it seems like that's staring at me in the face.
Yes.
There's
There are 4 of them there.
right
yeah.
there.
I agree.
And all 4 of those could be
They could.
top 4 games
So
ever.
I have,
Because-
I have a
think
question
so.
first. So Resident Evil, I've only played the first game, and not the remake.
Okay.
So the Resident Evil remake, what did it do different?
It changed the perspective. It kind of did. So how do you explain?
Is it still like the fixed camera?
It still does fixed camera angles in the remake, but it doesn't have. You can do no tank controls.
Okay.
So like you can control it like a regular game, kind of almost the way Resident Evil 2 remake did it.
Yeah.
So it was more of like a regular game.
Okay.
But it still did the fixed camera angles. It redid all the graphics and the like. They did like a bunch of hand painted art that was like beautiful in the remake. It was awesome.
All right. Cool.
So just think of Resident Evil 1, but better. That's really what it is. Yeah.
So I know, like, I only played Resident Evil 1. I know the Resident Evil 2 remake is a beloved game from this year, and I know a lot of people, and this is from an outside perspective, and I know a lot of people found Resident Evil 7 to be a very spooky game.
Yes, it is.
So what do you guys think? What's your interpretation on these?
So off the bat, I think 4 is the least scary.
I agree, but it's the one that's always.
But it's the most beloved, I would say.
Okay. Due to its more action style gameplay.
Yeah, I mean it's a really well made game.
Mm-hmm.
I love Resident Evil 4, but as the years go on and we look at like some other things, I think Resident Evil 4 is not as interesting as 1 and 2 remake in particular.
Yeah.
Because I think you go back and play 2 regular, and it's tough to get through. The remake is like just a superb game.
Well, like we said, it's like a new game too. The way that they've revamped it, like perfectly.
It's awesome. So yeah, I'm not. What I would say is between these 4, I don't know how you feel, Dan. I think Resident Evil Remake, the original, is the one that I would take off first right now.
I'm fine with that.
You cool with that?
I'm okay with that. I love the original game because it really masks it. You know what? And again, it's looking at like an originator. It masks that sort of, all the obtuseness of it and all the bad crap that's in it. Very very schlocky. It's very very the voice acting's terrible. The gameplay's bad, but it has that aesthetic that sort of makes it, charming, but I'm fine taking it out.
Yeah.
All right. Let's cut that, and we'll see.
Yeah, what's going on?
What do we got? I'm thinking that
It was just coming out.
maybe Little Nightmares here. Do you guys know what Little Nightmares is?
Yeah, and I think this is something you spoke about, Dan, a little while ago, how much you enjoyed this game, and I know this is go ahead. You guys played it more than I did.
You played Little Nightmares, Dan?
Oh no, I didn't play Little Nightmares actually.
Yeah, I played Little Nightmares. Little Nightmares is
That just came out recently, right? That was last year?
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Little Nightmares is basically Limbo. Like it.
Yeah.
It's totally aping that style. I think it does it really well, but it doesn't hit the high notes of a Limbo or an Inside.
Okay.
So I think that would be the reason that I would take it, is just like, hey, it's going for the same thing, but it's not nailing it. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good game. I think the freakiness and the weirdness of some of the
some of
the
those
monsters
characters look
really, really
creepy.
cool.
Yeah.
It's almost like a claymation looking art style. It's really
it's
neat.
like got that 3D side scroll
Yes,
kind of thing going
it's very
on.
cool, but it's not going to hang on this
Yeah.
list.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they announce like a sequel to that or something else?
Yes.
Oh, did
Yeah,
they?
right?
Yes.
I thought so.
Did that come out?
I don't remember.
Maybe that's what we're thinking. That's what you're thinking of. It came out
Yeah.
last year or this year.
But yeah, I remember seeing like a sequel to. I do remember one part that I thought was maybe not scary, like jumps out at you, but kind of like during that game you're like, oh, whoa.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh,
I
it's
know.
coming out next year.
When you come and you've run into one of those little guys and you just eat them.
Yep.
You're just like, whoa, what happened?
What's this?
What's that all about?
Yeah, it's a cool game. I like it. It just some of these games are like really excellent. You know.
So a more recent game that I want you guys to, just because we talked about Alien Isolation, how sometimes you were saying like batting your head against the wall, deterred from it being a great game, and I know it's.
I know where this.
Thank
is
you,
going.
Shelby.
I know where this is going.
I was leaning towards Prey.
Ah,
Yes.
there we go.
You talking last? I know Dan loves this game, and you loved it too, up until you said it got a little, like the respawning enemies just like got tough and tough and tough.
Oh man.
Um,
Do we do this, Dan? This is where we're gonna
or
find.
do we want to?
a final?
yeah.
I know there's.
This is the
I know
heavyweight
this game is
championship
better
right
than
now.
some of these other games.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely. Prey is an excellent game with too much combat. That's what Prey is. There's no other way to say it. Like, it is an excellent, amazing game, well written, well designed. The art is amazing.
Yes.
The scares are really good. I love it. There's too much combat, and it wears it down.
Yeah.
I still would probably find a way for this to be on if I was making 10 here. But I think for all of us, I think Prey can go here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to.
No, but I'm looking. I mean, I just don't see how it's gonna make top 10 with.
Yeah.
And
with,
you're
like I said, for me personally, yes, it would make it.
When
but-
Dan pitched the game to me, and I would say this for anybody, like the first 10 minutes of that game, like might be the best intro to a video game ever.
it's very good.
Like
Good.
that beginning part, and that's I think that beginning was so strong and so incredible in this huge world. And when you're looking through, and there's like this whole different alternate history where John F. Kennedy like survived, and like you're just looking at all these weird space things that you're learning through the station, and man, it's amazing. And I wanted to love it so much more, but again, same thing with Isolation. You're right. It's just like my head was banging against the wall after a while. It kind of took away from the enjoyment,
Yeah, I hear you, Dan. I don't really feel that way. It wasn't as much of a slog for me.
I think you're just better at video games than me too.
Well, no, I don't think that's what it is. But like I said, I'm looking at the list and I just don't see it. I don't see it making it over some of these games. I think we're kind of at a point right now where we should lock a couple of games in.
That'll
Yeah.
I don't know
definitely
what
be
you
top
guys
10.
think.
No, I
Yeah.
agree because that'll make it.
We haven't talked about Bloodborne. I don't think there's any way Bloodborne's not in the top 10
That's
here.
why I kind of didn't want to
I
go near
love
it.
Bloodborne.
Yeah, I just don't see it. So I'm just gonna make that one bold. I think we
Dead
said Dead
Space, for
Space.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we all have very strong feelings on Last of Us.
Yeah, that's gonna make it. That's gonna make it. It has.
And it's interesting, Shelby. We
Yeah.
talked about this too. Is it a horror game? Is it? But it's definitely spooky.
Yeah.
It's scary. There's,
Yeah.
right?
It has its
It
moments.
definitely
There's the
definitely, for
clickers.
sure.
Let's leave it. Let's
And
do.
sometimes
think
the
what-
humans are just as
I think
scary
it would,
as the zombies.
what brings it along on a list like this is just how good of a game it is. you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, for sure.
So
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what makes
let's
it rise.
yeah. Let's lock those three in for now, and we'll revisit other stuff. And,
So what was
and
that?
we'll
That
see.
was
That was
Bloodborne?
Bloodborne, Dead Space, and The Last of Us.
Okay.
Those three are going to be on our top 10 unless we change our minds.
Okay.
Hellblade.
All right, let's talk about Hellblade.
Let's talk about Hellblade. Dan, I know you were much higher on Hellblade than I was.
that game really, really, really got me.
I thought it was good. I did not think it was great.
Mhm.
So I want to hear a defense if you choose to.
I mean,
Pose one.
to be fair, same sort of thing you did with Prey and Alien Isolation when you look at this list, and I'm like, Hellblade was a very, very special game. I think when it came out, I think it handled its subject matter extremely well. I thought it was very, very realistic. Even though it was in this fantasy world, I think what it was going for and what it was trying to do, it felt very, very genuine. And I really, really appreciate it. I really appreciate, any sort of art or whatever that kind of like, takes something and then kind of pushes it and takes a risk. And even if it
Mhm.
falls flat, I'd rather them go for something. I feel like I'm quoting you. I feel like, Dan, you said that 100 times, but like I truly feel that way. And I'm okay taking it off. I think it's a special game. I think it has creepy moments because it's dealing with psychosis and it's dealing with like personal demons, and it's got these very, very
Mhm.
visceral and grotesque moments.
Yeah.
And I think those moments really, really left an impression with me, especially when you have these shadow guys coming after you,
Mhm.
and it's scary.
Yeah.
But also we're talking about also as an overall game, and
Yeah.
where it was definitely one of my favorite games of 2017.
Yeah.
I believe so.
I think where it comes to my favorite games of all time, and especially on this list, I'm actually okay
Yeah.
taking it off.
I
But I
do-
think it's a very
yeah.
special game.
I do. I enjoyed the game as well, and I do think like when you were in those little battle scenes, like when you just kept circling around, like they're coming behind, like that was intense. You
Yeah,
know? Like
for
that's
sure.
where your spookiness came in.
Yeah.
That's
Well, even
right.
that
But,
one guy, the crow guy.
Yeah.
Or when the guy with the fire,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
the
yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
village is
Oh,
burning
yeah.
up, like that's like to me that's like real horror. That's like
Mhm.
when it really touches on very you can have ghosts and you can have goblins and stuff like that, but when it has real
Real implications.
implications in real life,
In
that's where it
reality,
really it
I
hits
agree
home.
with
So
that.
it definitely hit a nerve with me.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it
It's-
as a horror game until you brought it up, but
I just remember it being really
it's intense.
creepy and intense. You
Yeah.
know, like a lot of the design of the enemies and stuff.
Right.
I think it's definitely horror.
Yeah.
Not. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
horror, but it's spooky. It's
Could be.
scary.
Yeah,
But
but I'm okay. Got on that.
all right. Does anyone else have any ideas right now, or what are we looking like?
Let's see.
Because I could talk. I could bring up Alan Wake and why it's gonna get cut.
Okay. Let's do so.
I like Alan Wake a lot.
Okay.
I think it does really, really interesting things. I think as a game, there's a reason why it's not like one of
Top
the best
tier,
games.
yeah.
Yeah, it can get a little frustrating. It can get a little tedious in the combat. I like the story they told, and I like the horror elements that surround it. I just don't think it really is gonna last here.
Okay.
Sorry, Alan.
Sorry, Alan.
Goodbye, Mr.
Sorry,
Wake.
Mr. Wake.
Mr. Wake.
So what do we got? So what do we got now?
So right now, I'll read through because we're getting near 10. We have Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 7, Silent Hill 2, PT, Soma, Until Dawn, Bloodborne, Bioshock, Dead Space, Eternal Darkness, Left 4 Dead 2, The Last of Us, Limbo, Inside, Doki Doki Literature Club, Clock Tower, and Gone Home.
All right, good job, guys. We need to cut down 8 more.
8 more, Jesus.
Well, so Eternal Darkness, I'm not really familiar. I
Really?
mean, I know of it. I
Okay.
don't have an experience with it.
Yeah, so Eternal Darkness is a Resident Evil style game, similar to how Silent Hill was going for Resident Evil style, right? But the thing about Eternal Darkness was it played with your reality. There was a sanity meter that your character had, and when her sanity or whoever sanity was going down, the world would change. So like all of a sudden you'd see things crawling on the walls in the game,
That's cool.
or it would do the Kojima thing of turning off your TV or staticking your screen and doing stuff like that. So it was very unique and a fun like horror game. I think you're right to bring it up just in the fact that it's not going to cut it here. But
Oh, and that's not even why I was bringing it up. It was just like, oh, this is one game that I'm not.
yeah,
familiar with.
I played it on the GameCube back in the day. I have not replayed this game since I played it.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember having really fond memories of like, wow, this was like a really fun, scary game.
Cool.
You know, but I'm gonna cut it. I think that game's done on this. So let's see.
Eternal Darkness. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. You want to revisit Limbo and Inside?
Yeah, it's about time
Yeah,
we
we
do
can
that.
get to there.
I put my vote for Inside to stay.
I think Inside. I think Inside is definitely the more unsettling,
Yes.
creepy game of the two for sure.
I think it's a better game too.
Oh yeah, definitely
Yeah.
a better game. Slightly longer, I think. It's a better game. Not to knock Limbo, of course. Like,
Oh yeah, no,
the
I
game
love
is
Limbo.
great. Has some
Limbo's
jump
amazing,
scares, but for sure, Inside is a more unsettling, better game.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely leaning towards that one more as well.
It's hard because actually both of those games, both Limbo and Inside, are like two of my favorite games ever too.
They're
Like
very good.
They both
I would
would.
very much like somebody to go through all 70 of our episodes to see how many games are on Dan's greatest games.
I
of
have
all
a
time.
list on my phone actually. I can check. You can check it.
Me and Dan are very similar in that way. We keep lists of our favorite games.
I have a list. I could tell you what number Bloodborne is on my list. Number 18.
Yeah, I like Inside better as a game and idea. I think they absolutely nail what they're going for, and I think Inside should stay.
So we're taking Limbo off.
Take Limbo off.
Now, are we locking any more up, or do we want to cut some more before we make some?
I think we go back to the Resident Evils and see if
All right,
we
let's
can
do it. So we
pare
have
them down.
Resident Evil 2 Remake, 4, and 7, correct?
Yes.
What's everybody's favorite Resident Evil on there?
I think it's 2 remake.
Yeah, the 2 remake.
It's
is
that
so
good. Yeah, it's that good.
What I loved about the 4th game, talk about the action-y and like the the scariness and how it was more action-y. I really like the feeling of like only having 7 bullets and 80 zombies coming after you and like having to like maneuver away to well, if I climb up this ladder and like I just take out my knife and wait for them to come and just get like I like that sort of feeling. That was where the fear came from, I think.
That's survival horror. That's the essence
Yeah.
of it,
But it wasn't like I was scared of the enemies. It was just like, how am I gonna kill all these guys? Like that was my feeling. I do agree. Resident Evil. I think Resident Evil 2, the remake, is a much better game. It has all of those elements, and I think having it more close and personal. I don't know. I haven't played the Resident Evil 4 in a very long time, but I want to say that you were much closer to Leon in 2 than you were.
Yes.
You were much closer to his shoulder.
Tighter camera.
Tighter
Yes.
camera.
Yes.
I think that adds more to the fright.
I thought you meant emotionally for a second.
I mean,
was
I
much
feel really
closer to Leon.
Yeah, he was much more vulnerable when he was just his first day on the job.
People have very rose-tinted glasses for Resident Evil 4. I kind of like. I think it's a great game, and I think people loved it at the time because it was doing a lot of things that were new and exciting. I think it's a great game, but I don't think it's one of the best games of all time. Like everyone talks about it.
But people put it's up there with like Ocarina. Like
yeah, I really don't feel that way about it because I actually think that it there's a lot of bullshit in that game.
Yeah.
Like you gotta keep tabs on Ashley.
Oh, Ashley's the worst.
Leon. But she
that's scary enough.
It can be a little frustrating. I get the love for it, and I love the game, but it's not one of the best games of all time in my mind.
I'm fine taking that off.
I think we take 4 off.
And because I know that's big too, because But I also want to talk about Resident Evil 7 as well. And I know Dan, you have similar. I've only played, and I haven't played the whole thing. I've only played maybe like 3 hours of it.
Okay, I played through it.
Played through it?
Yeah.
I haven't played this one. I just know it's like Texas Chainsaw House.
Yes.
It's definitely that. Yeah.
But it's
for sure.
It's a very split game. It's not.
Yeah.
That opening area is one of the best areas. That mansion
Yeah.
is amazing.
Nice.
It loses steam as it goes. And you go to different places that aren't as visually interesting or scary. You're not being chased by people all the time like you are in that mansion. I think 7 is a very good game. I don't think it's hangs with the rest of them, though.
Hangs with the top 10?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Wow, so Resident Evil 2 remake, best Resident Evil. Hot damn.
Keep your eyes peeled for our Game of the Year discussion this year. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
All right,
cool. So we broke it down to one Resident Evil game there.
Yes, that
Cool.
was intense. How many games do we have? 14?
14. Okay.
All right. You want to talk about Gone Home?
Let's talk about Gone Home because that's so interesting that you brought that up.
Yeah. So Gone Home, obviously spoilers for any of these games, but
it's 2 hours. Play it.
yeah, it's a great game. You can probably get it on anything now. I think it's even on Switch. It's everywhere. It's an amazing game. The pitch of the game is you walk in, this is your house, you're away at college, and you're going home to see your family. You walk, there's a note on the door that says basically like, it's like I left or
It's
something.
weird.
Yeah.
It's like, don't
Don't go come looking for me or something.
like
it's
I'm
like
gone,
this. Yeah, it's like this note that's like it's spooky. You walk in the house, nobody's there.
nighttime, lights are off.
Lights are off. There's lightning crashing outside. You play through this game thinking it's a horror game, and as you're getting more and more notes that your sister left behind, you're realizing that this isn't a horror game at all, that it's like a love story between your sister and someone she fell in love with. And the realization when it clicks for you, and it's different for everyone, where it's like, this isn't a horror game,
And
is it?
Yeah, it's such a cool moment.
It's a very cool moment, and Gone Home is a amazing game, and it's just so beautifully written and well done.
Yeah, and the voice acting and just the
it's great.
characterization.
Gone Home is a great game. I I would like to see it on the top 10, but I don't know if that's disingenuous.
You mean that's like
That it's not really a spooky game, you know?
I mean, I'd be so curious to like talk to the developers and like what their
Intention.
because like they even throw
It's intentional.
because they throw in that point.
The light.
Oh, there was a guy who used to live here and he
Yeah.
died, and then you go into this like you see this
Yeah.
table has like a pentagram on it, and you're like, what's happening? You're like,
And,
what-
but they also do the thing. Did you remember? I don't know if you remember. By like, there's this like cellar stairwell with a light, like a pull light switch.
oh yeah, and there's like stuff all.
And so you're like, oh god, and you pull it, and like the light shatters or something, or the lightning strikes at the right time, and it's intentional that they're going for, hey, this is supposed to seem like a horror game. Like this wasn't an accident, you know. So that's why I kind of like
Having
keeping
it
it
on
for
there?
now, yeah. But we do have to cut 4 of these, and this is a pretty good list.
Have we talked about all the games on here yet?
No, not yet. PT. I almost included it on the lock list before because it is such a excellent
Oh, man.
horror experience. Like
Mhm.
it is,
Like-
it
like no other,
encapsulates a horror video game. Like that. This is the horror video game to me. And I really think that it needs to be on this list.
Yeah, that half hour is just.
Yeah, it's a very short experience. I think it's about an hour, but it's
Bone chilling.
so scary and so well done.
Oh man.
And the way they play with like the endless hallway and the like they do such an awesome job
Ugh.
making that game. Soma, we haven't talked about.
Okay.
Soma is a very good, very well done horror game that again should not have combat. I don't know if you played this before the combat was in it.
Yeah, no, safe mode all the way.
You played safe mode?
all the way.
So I played it before there was a safe mode. When it came out, they didn't have safe mode. And it was so frustrating. If you play Soma, and I recommend it, you need to turn on safe mode. And it is such a good horror experience that I kind of want to keep it on this list, even though it has the frustrations. But, you know, we can revisit it. I think there are a few games that are at least up for discussion here.
Mm-hmm.
But Soma, I think we should leave for now.
So what's the difference between the safe mode and not?
Safe mode has no...
No combat?
So like the monsters and the they'll come after you, but they can't kill you, or like it's a very big threshold.
It's more of
Just
like
meant for
it's
the
more of like a
thrill.
chase.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
okay.
chase rather than an actual fight.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I didn't have those issues, and I was able to
Yeah.
enjoy the story of Soma. And oh my gosh, seriously, like when it comes to writing and
It's so good.
The whole game talks about like it's got a very shifting consciousnesses, very like
Mhm.
this like the swapper sort
Yeah.
of thing. Like shifting consciousnesses, you need to switch your consciousness between this computer or this, and what does that mean? Are these still humans? And
Yeah, it's
and-
awesome. Soma's
and-
an awesome game.
And also, I just want to say the way that it ends, most like one of the most unsettling endings to a
Yes.
video game.
Definitely.
It does not end happy.
It's so rough.
It is.
It's
that
so
is-
good though.
Oh my gosh, like that. I think that for me, the ending alone, like, gives me such a knot in my stomach. Like,
Yeah.
I want it on that list just for that.
Yeah, I agree. All right,
So
so
moments like that are
It's
completely viable for why it would be.
Oh,
on the list.
my
let's
gosh.
leave Soma for now, and we'll go visit another game. We haven't talked about Until Dawn.
Ooh.
So Until Dawn is such a fun, great horror experience.
Mhm.
Like when I say PT belongs on this list because it is horror, Until Dawn is the other end of that same spectrum because like it really belongs on this list because it is like schlocky horror. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Well, it takes the teenage slasher film tropes, but like does
Yeah.
it? But like knows that it's doing that.
and nails it like so well. I love Until Dawn so much, and like it's funny, almost like I wouldn't say Until Dawn is one of my absolute favorite games of all time, but I'm always like rooting for it and stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is such a fun, like great horror experience.
And it's perfect, like especially this time of year. Just like, hey, let's all get together, play some
Yeah,
Until
exactly.
Dawn. Like
It's awesome.
It's funny you say that because as like prior to doing something like this, like I was looking online, like, oh, what are some horror games that other lists have and
Mhm.
stuff, and this is on every single one of them. Like in
yeah,
that sense that where you say it's like the side of the spectrum with PT and stuff. Like I guess people feel similar in that sense that this is just something to keep coming back to.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely recommend this to anybody. And it is scary. I mean,
yeah.
there are those moments where you're just terrified
And such a good twist, like midway through the game.
Oh man, you're like,
so
what?
good. Yeah. Love it. Love this game. I think that game stays. I'll bring up my child, Doki Doki Literature Club.
The
I know,
only one on this list that has pink on the cover.
Yep. The only one that everyone would look at and say, "What do you mean this is a horror game?" This is honestly one of the most effective horror games for me, like ever. It is really, really creepy and deals with a lot of like serious mental health things, and it does it really well, like in a horror setting. I was kind of blown away by this game 2 years ago.
I remember, when you showed me.
Was it last year?
I think it
might have been last year.
It might have been 2017 when we first did our.
I don't remember.
Because I remember you coming up to me and being like, "Hey, let me just show you this for like a little bit before we do our game of the year," and I was like,
"It's crazy."
No, I do remember you talking about this and being.
It's a wild game, and it
2017.
Yeah, it was 2017. Yeah, I really have strong feelings for that game, but I think we have to get rid of 4 here, and I think that one for us our list, I think that one's not going to cut it.
I just want to say, I'm not giving any spoilers, but I love that it does that sort of like Undertale thing, or that sort of where it messes with like the real world in a way, right?
Definitely, yes. Fourth wall.
I don't want to like
a lot of really cool stuff in that game, and since we're not putting it on the top 10, then I'm not going to spoil it too much. It's a dating sim looking game, but it's very different. It's got a lot more just than so that. You know. So, yep, Doki Doki Literature Club, you are off the list. So are we right? We have 3 to cut.
Yep, I have 13 right now.
All right. You want to start bolding some that we think are definitely going to stay, or do we want to? Because I think we talked about. We didn't talk about Silent Hill 2.
Okay,
that's the only one on this list we haven't talked about.
This is tough. I love Silent Hill 2, and I love what it did, and I love the story. I love the whole time. Not again, try not to. But
spoil. Yeah,
I can spoil. It's also
Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, that's also that game. What came out 2001.
Yeah.
The whole time, so you get this letter from your wife, who's passed on, and you find out, she goes, come visit me in Silent Hill, and you just say like, oh, this is totally normal. All right, I'm gonna go visit my dead wife in Silent Hill, and you end up going to this really, really creepy town, and there's all these characters there that each have these really, really they're weird and messed up stories, and everybody that you come across is super regretful and just guilty, and just everybody's just got this. It's like a very icky feeling. Nobody you come across makes you feel safe. Everybody's either feel like you stab you in the back, or it's just like a very, very creepy vibe, and you're just looking for your wife. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But the big twist is, and I'll spoil it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
The big twist is that like you killed your wife, and you created Silent Hill in your mind as a way to sort of that kind of Catholic guilt, some sort of penance. So that sort of when people used to whip themselves and things like that. It's that sort of feeling, and it creates like a very, very empty vibe where this whole time you're thinking that your character is like such a hero, and you're like, oh man, all he wants to do is find his wife, and then when you find out that he did this to like himself, and this is just his penance.
It's really cool moment.
It's very effective, and it's a very good game, and I remember it very fondly. I got the Xbox for the Xbox 360. They remastered the second and the third game, and replaying it again, it's very hard to play. The same way that like it's hard to play the original Shadow of the Colossus. Like it's controls are really bad, and
bad controls.
Even the voice acting is
not good.
Very less than desirable.
But the writing holds up.
I think the writing holds up, and I just think that story, just the
yes,
that was huge for the time, and a lot of games that we talk about now, whether it be Braid or whether it be Hellblade or whatever, Silent Hill 2. I mean, that twist, that sort of idea that you're playing as the villain the whole time, that was really, really effective.
Very unique at the time, yeah.
But I don't know what you guys think. I don't know if you guys think that it still holds a spot.
I have a lot of fondness for Silent Hill 2 as well, and I think that it belongs to be held, or it should be held up in the same way that we talk about the Resident Evil games. Like, it is a very good, very well told story.
Mm-hmm.
I think looking back on it, it's not quite like it suffers from the same thing that we keep bringing up of, hey, at the time that was really unique and really groundbreaking and whatever, but is it still that affecting? I don't know.
And it pains me to say that too, because seriously, when I played that for the first time, I was just like, what the hell is it? Is
so
this
good.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know. Let's leave it for now, and we'll jump back. I think we can take Left 4 Dead 2 off.
Okay.
I think Left 4 Dead 2 is an awesome, awesome game that has really good, spooky parts to it. I'm looking at this list, and I don't know if it's...
Yeah.
So right now, I'm going to read what we have. Resident Evil 2 Remake, Silent Hill 2, PT, Soma, Until Dawn, Bloodborne, BioShock, Dead Space, The Last of Us, Inside, Clock Tower, and Gone Home.
All right, we got 2 more to cut.
Does anyone have any thoughts about these?
Man, this is getting hard.
So, are there any games on this list that we look at and notice direct similarities between the two? Like anything that's very similar in style and gameplay that maybe one's a little bit better than the other?
Ooh, that's a good question.
No,
I mean,
not to the extent that it would
it would make a change.
Not to the extent that you would have to pick one over the other. These are independent, unique works.
I mean, I will definitely. I'll make the concession because I'm the only one that's played it. Clock Tower, that would definitely be on my personal top 10. But if we're making a circle back list, I'll be okay making that concession. It's definitely, and you know what? And it's a game I haven't played in a very, very long time. I just have very, very fond memories of it. I'm okay taking that off, but I would recommend, if you guys have an opportunity to check it out, and I maybe have to revisit it too.
All right,
but I'm okay making that.
You could take Clock Tower.
I'm okay making that concession. I'm just very happy that I was able to talk about it.
I love it. I'm glad that you got to talk about it
I'm
too.
happy that I was able to talk about it.
All right, so that leaves one game to be cut. The ones that I'm seeing that I would think are up for cutting here would be Gone Home, Silent Hill 2, I guess Soma? I don't know.
So all right, so let's talk. So if those are our 3, what are the reasons we'd cut? Because we know why we love Soma, we know why we love Gone Home, we know why we love what was the other one?
Silent Hill 2.
We know why we love it. Why don't we love it? And why?
I honestly,
is it just
it's more of a preference type of thing here, where you're gonna say, hey, which one do I like more? Because I think we have 11 great games here, and it's like, all right, well, what are we thinking of? I'd prefer this one over this one. For me, even though Silent Hill 2 is such a beloved horror game, I don't think it. I think it's another, like I keep saying, it's a rose-tinted glasses situation where it's like, it's very cool. It does a lot of cool things. Are we going to say that any of these are like, I've always felt this way about Silent Hill 2 because even, the old PlayStation 2, those controllers, man, some of those games were just really, really rough. And I feel like I'd enjoy Silent 2 more as like a movie than as like a game. Yes.
Like if they made
those movies weren't that good.
Oh, yeah.
No, like
right. I know
like you could just experience the story.
If they just put that
playing
story in like a book form or a movie form, it might be like maybe like top favorite movies ever. I think, you know what, and to be fair, just so so I'm consistent, the same issues that I'd come across with an Alien Isolation or a Prey. It's the same thing with Silent Hill 2. Now, having said that, original Shadow of the Colossus, I came up against those things.
Yes.
All the time. So that doesn't that may not be a reason to cut it. But if Silent Hill 2 has to go,
Listen, if we have some reasons to cut it over the other two that we spoke about.
Well, the reason against Gone Home is that it's not a horror game.
Yeah.
But I like it because of that. You know,
I think it's like a sweet 10 number. Like it's like a nice.
Yeah, that's a nice 10. I think
That's a nice 10.
I agree, Dan.
What do you say, guys?
I like it. Let's get rid of Silent Hill 2. People are gonna be mad about that.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, I love Silent Hill 2, guys.
You tell them, Dan.
I played that game 3 times.
All right,
love
so
it.
the list right now in no particular order: Resident Evil 2 Remake, PT, Soma, Until Dawn, Bloodborne, BioShock, Dead Space, The Last of Us, Inside, and Gone Home. So we already kind of said Gone Home is a good number 10.
Gone Home is a nice 10.
So let's throw out a 10.
It's on the list. We know
I
why
think
we love it.
I think Soma would edge toward the bottom of the list as well. Not because it's not a great game, just because it's maybe not as high of a mark as some of these other ones.
I so badly want people to play that just to get to that end. Like that, I'm telling you, that ending of that game
Really, really
just
good.
made me so sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then what do you guys think? Because that doesn't have to be number 9. I'm just saying. I think it would be towards. It wouldn't be like a top 5 for me.
so now it's like, what's your fave? That's the real question. Is there any ones that you could be like, that's number 1? That's it. It's got to be.
No, not right now. I mean, I think there are a couple that we could talk about. But there's a reason all these games are on here. They're great.
Yeah.
It's not like we're gonna trash them.
I think when it comes to world building, I think Bloodborne might have the best world, just because it's so densely packed and just so interesting, and like this the way that they tell a story by like not telling a story, just by like creating this environment where it goes from like Bram Stoker 1 minute to H.P. Lovecraft the next. It fuses so much everything that I love about all sorts of horror. Bloodborne has that.
Yeah.
And it's an action game. You're going, you're fighting guys, but you watch every corner. You're scared half the time because it's this creepy environment, and there's this story about this corrupt organization infusing blood with people and creating these monsters. It's
awesome. Bloodborne's amazing.
Yeah, it kind of encompasses everything you're looking for.
Here's what I'll say. So me personally, I would posit Bloodborne, PT, and Dead Space
pretty highly
are the top 3, I would think, for me. Those are
For me,
are possible number ones.
Bloodborne and Dead Space would be my top 2, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. Because when I was looking at this list, based on how we talked about it throughout everything, I was definitely thinking Dead Space, PT, and Resident Evil 2 for you guys, honestly. I haven't played that one, but that was
Evil 2 is
just how highly we regarded it.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah. I would also say that I think Until Dawn would be a good 8, 7, something like that. So let's slide that one down a little bit.
Put it at 8 for now.
Yeah. Just working, getting a working list. We have Until Dawn 8, Soma 9, Gone Home 10, and we can flip those if we want.
Now, where do you feel BioShock kind of sits?
I
on
think
this
it's
list?
right around there too. I was thinking that it would be like a 6 or 7, something like that.
Yeah.
Shub, have you played BioShock?
Yeah, I played BioShock, and it's one of the greatest stories
Mm-hmm.
in a game I've ever played. But knowing that, I never sought out horror games and stuff like that, and looking at this and being like, all right, but I really want to play this game. Not huge on first-person shooters, not huge on horror games, but played through it, and the story director, I didn't find it to be a superiorly scary game to me, spooky game.
No.
So that's why I think I think somewhere around 6,
I think
7
those
is
factors.
definitely-
So I said at the top. Obviously, we're looking for best games that are also scary.
Also
but
scary,
I think how scary they are and how well they do the scares, I think factors into this.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'm kind of thinking the same way as you right now, Shelby.
Yeah.
Where I'm like BioShock and The Last of Us
Are
could
great
maybe be a
games,
little
but
lower.
yeah.
And they're both amazing games, but I kind of could see them like 6 and 7,
Yeah,
something like that.
I'd
I
have
don't know how
no
you guys
problem
feel.
putting BioShock at 7 and Last of Us at 6.
I'm okay
or
with that
vice
too.
versa,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Because I do think that they both have those moments. I mean, I can remember the moment. Yeah, I'm sure we all play. And BioShock, where there's just this guy like hanging from a ceiling, and he looks like he's just like dead.
Yeah.
And you walk right under him, and he just like
drops
jumps out at
down.
you.
Yeah. Or in
Yeah.
the very beginning when you take the thing down to Rapture, and the guy's outside the door like saying all these things, and he's like scraping
Oh
his
my gosh,
claw
yeah.
along
Yeah.
the side and stuff. Like it's definitely got some scary moments.
I will to be fair, and because this is how I knocked, Silent Hill 2, and and Prey and Alien Isolation. I do think replaying BioShock, and I probably played through that game maybe a dozen times. I think replaying through it has those frustrating moments where it just becomes like maybe it has
Yeah.
that like too. I think so, where it has those moments where it's too long or it's too gamey
Mhm.
at times,
Okay.
where it's
Mhm.
okay, go from point A to point B, fight 20 enemies, and then
Mhm.
press a button,
Yeah.
and then
yeah.
and not taking away from the story or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because holy moly, that's one of the best, most poignant
Great
stories.
world. Yeah.
And what a world Rapture is. But it definitely has those moments where, as a game, where it's just like, oh, I gotta do this again.
I'm
Okay.
already feeling, I don't want to like. I'm already feeling how I feel about some of the older games towards BioShock. Like, I still love it, but I'm already starting to look back and be like, did it? Was it that good of a? Like, I'm not saying it's not really good, but I've always held BioShock. Hey, that's one of my top 25,
Favorites,
whatever.
yeah.
Like one of my
Yeah.
favorites. And it's slowly and but surely, it's kind of working its way like
Lower.
out, lower and lower. Kind of like I talk about The Last of Us like that, where I'm like, it was amazing, and it's just like the more I think about it, and the more I experience new things, I'm like, was it that incredible? There are certain games that I kind of do that for.
But there's something about the originators too,
Yes, of course, but we already said BioShock. I mean, System Shock 2 came 7 years before it.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, but did they do the same?
No, it's not the same exact story. I'm just saying it's.
Would you kindly?
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay.
But all right, let's for the time being say Last of Us 6, BioShock 7. So that leaves our top 5 here: Resident Evil 2 Remake, PT, Bloodborne, Dead Space, Inside.
I think Inside is the weakest.
Yeah.
I would
of
say
five.
Inside is
Yeah.
a good number 5, and then I kind of right now am thinking that Resident Evil 2 would be number 4.
I'm fine with that. What do you think, Shelb?
I'm totally fine with that. I
Yeah.
haven't played the remake yet, but looking at the other games right there.
I'm very happy with our top
Yeah.
3. When it
I
comes
think that's
to,
the top 3 to me.
when it
in my
comes to
opinion.
experiences, I think, for example, Bloodborne, from beginning to end, there was never. Now talking about like mint games, I think Bloodborne as an experience from top to bottom was just, there was never a moment
Yeah.
where I wasn't intrigued, where I wasn't invested, where I wasn't interested. That whole game.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? And that's, I know a lot of people don't like From Software games because, they're too hard. But I think for me, the intrigue was, this world is so fascinating. I'm going to practice and do whatever I can to get past a certain area because I want
to see what's
I want to
next.
know more. I want
Yeah.
to learn more. This game has so much.
Yeah.
So that's I'm just gushing about
Yeah.
Bloodborne, but
I always found that to be a huge factor in what makes games great. Is that like, no matter what, you're just like, I gotta know what happens,
Yeah.
next,
Right?
you know?
So no
Like, I
matter-
gotta
you could
know.
be getting your-
This is Control this year for me, where it's like
Yeah.
everything you're doing, even in the frustrating moments, you're like, I'm
I
so
need
excited
to-
to see what's
Exactly.
next.
I
Yeah.
need to know how this game
Yeah.
ends. That's it. Same.
Yeah.
So that's why I think, and I think Dead Space had that for me too. And
Yeah.
Dead Space had those kind of, when I said BioShock gamey, but Dead Space had that, but just very special.
Yeah. And then PT is the horror game, like
Yeah, PT's the only one of these 3 that I have played.
yeah.
I have Bloodborne. I just have been waiting for the right moment.
Halloween night,
I'm waiting for like January so that I
Oh,
can
right.
sit down and not have to worry about
new games.
how
Yeah.
many games that I love right now that I want to play.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I would like my vote would be Bloodborne, Dead Space, PT. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Dan?
See, so I was gonna say Bloodborne is my favorite out of all these games, but then I was like, I don't want to like you guys to just like agree with me.
Listen, if there's
Dan,
two,
you know
if
Bloodborne
there's
is
two
one of my favorite
Bloodbornes on
games.
top, then
What's up to you, Shelb?
well, I
You can
mean,
fight it, man. Fight it.
I could fight it all I want. All I can do is make an argument for PT here, you know. And I think Bloodborne, given its praise and everything like that, and given its aesthetic, and trust me, I haven't played it, but I've watched videos on it. Like, I think it deserves that top spot.
I just love that
You
game
know?
so much. So like for me, Bloodborne and PT, come to the, we're talking about like great games, right? So I think for me, Bloodborne and PT are the most, from our list, the most near perfect experiences.
Yeah, of what they try to do and how they succeed.
And the gameplay and everything, you
Yeah.
know, like I think, like PT, PT's only an hour, but still, like that whole like there's nothing, there's no gripes.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way with Bloodborne. I don't have any gripes with Bloodborne. It's like that near perfect experience. That's why I feel like I hold it so highly. There's things in BioShock that I'm like, and things inside I'm like, but
Yeah.
for me, that's why it takes the cake.
I have no arguments here.
So would you want to put PT2 or PT stays 3?
I would leave PT3 personally, but
What do you think, Shelb?
I'm totally fine with that.
so let's look at the rest of the list. You could Gone Home number 10, Soma number 9, Until Dawn number 8, BioShock 7, Last of Us 6, Inside 5, Resident Evil 2 Remake 4, PT number 3, Dead Space number 2, Bloodborne number 1.
Wow.
We're happy with that list?
Happy with that list.
What do we think?
Listen,
Sorry
we do it?
Sorry to make the last three non-arbitrary, but the great games. And we think that's a perfect order for it.
Yeah, really, I just feel, obviously, Bloodborne is just such an incredible game, and I have a very personal connection to Dead Space as well, so I think having those 1, 2 is really good.
it's 1-2 punch right there.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that is Circle Back Gaming's top 10 spooky games
Wow.
of all time.
I just want to thank you guys. I wasn't scared 1 second just being with you guys. Thanks for protecting me.
Hey, you got it, buddy.
Well, the lights are on.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, it's 9 a.m. So
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Dan, thank you for being here.
thanks for having me.
Shelby, thanks for being
Hey,
here.
it was a blast.
And we hope you guys enjoyed. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Circle Back Podcast. Until then, peace. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching and or listening. Just here to remind you that you can find us by searching for Circle Back Podcast or Circle Back Gaming on any of these podcast services: Anchor, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, or Stitcher. By God, I'm out of breath because of all these podcast services, but you can find us anywhere there. Also, you can find our video version on YouTube by searching Circle Back Podcast or Circle Back Gaming, and the rest of the videos we do. Thanks, guys.